There's this picture of oh, hey, what's up? We're live. 1 second. There's this picture of Paige Van Zandt at the beach, and she don't look anywhere near 115. And so someone put it, I think Zombie Prophet put it up, and it says, "Is Paige moving up in weight? If not, she's gonna hit her next weight cut." And she looks like she let herself go a little bit. It's kind of she looks a little chunky.
Don't you think she's kind of got to get some recovery after, you know, the two recent ass whoopings she's been taking?
Oh, for sure, but still, goddamn.
Vacation time.
Yeah. There you go. Vacation time. Anyway, all right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the MMA Advocates, presented by Crossbones MMA. My name is Eddie Law. Of course, we have David Rodriguez out of ABQ, and straight out of LA, the homie Jesse Rubalcaba. Let's start with Jesse real quick. You were actually at Combates last week, right? Was it last week or the week before? Last week, right?
Last week, yeah.
Yeah. How was the event, and what'd you think of it overall?
In general, I would say, like, I think I've always said that if you get a chance to go to one of their events, I mean, the atmosphere is awesome. I mean, you got a bunch of drunk people, pretty much, all representing their homie that's fighting in the cage. So, I mean, it's a nice, you know, rambunctious crowd. It's pretty awesome. I mean, the energy is like you would find in, you know, any other like event, like high quality event. Actually, I would say that the crowd here was a lot more energetic than the one that I went to twice to World Series of Fighting, because their crowd definitely needed some sort of energy drink. So Combate just comes with the party. I mean, they had a catering truck outside. They had tacos and all kinds of Mexican food. Had lots of booze running. So, I mean, it's a party. So go to the event. It's a fun time. I mean, you know, like we were talking about right before, I mean, you have a bunch of fighters there. So if you're a fan, I mean, you get to see some people up close. You can go up to them. You know, Cody was there. Kelvin Gastelum was there. Josh Barnett was there. Who else was there? Geez, like a bunch of people. Basically, anybody like Southern California. You know, you'll probably see them, you know, hanging out, chilling there. So I mean, it's a fun time. If you're a fan of the fights, you know, you're gonna have a good time. You might see some stars. Go get some pictures. Have a good time.
For sure, man. So you were talking about guys you saw Cody Garbrandt there, Kelvin Gastelum. What was the guy? No call, Castillo.
Yeah, Danny Castillo.
Yeah, who else?
Teruto Ishihara, right? That's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there. Fun guy. I mean, does he speak English, by the way?
Some, it seems.
Some, okay.
I mean, look, his best phrase ever is "I love my bitches." So.
Okay, yeah. I think he knows ladies and picture, because he was taking lots of pictures with everybody's, and he was like, you know, checking out the ladies and kind of giving them the look like, yeah, it's me. So, I mean, again, it's a fun time. You know, you just go there. I mean, the seats are very accessible. I mean, they give you assigned seating or whatever. But I mean, for the main event, if I don't know if it came across on the broadcast, but for the main event, pretty much everybody was on their feet. They filled up the aisle.
It did. We saw that.
And it was just a ruckus. I mean, I literally had to walk across and go to where the screen was so I could see into the cage through the screen, because I couldn't see into the cage. You know, well, I'm short, but you know, everybody was just standing up, cheering and everything. Everybody was going crazy. So, like I said, I mean, it's a great time. You guys should definitely go try it once.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to go to one at some point. I know they're mostly in LA, so I'd have to make a trip for that. But
or Mexico,
or Albuquerque.
If they go to ABQ, do they go to ABQ?
No, but definitely that'd be a good thing in the works for them to bring a nice show to Albuquerque, because that definitely would be a sellout in my opinion.
Yeah. Where else have they've been to? I mean, obviously they're based in California, but they've been in California. They're about to go to Mexico. Where else?
They've been to New York. They had an event in New York, which wasn't in New York, quote unquote. I think it was like just the outside of New York.
So Jersey?
No, it was weird. It was on I think it was Indian Casino. I think it was like called the Turning Stone Casino. I believe.
It was a no man's land. Got it.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I think that's how they got away with being one of the first events out there, with like right before it got like officially sanctioned and everything. So, but I mean, I think they've announced that next year. I think next October they're going to Acapulco, Mexico.
Nice. So,
you know, and I'm pretty sure eventually they're probably going to hit Florida, because I I think Campbell loves Florida. He's always there, so I'm pretty sure they're probably gonna end up hitting Florida eventually. So, they're hitting the nice spots.
Did you see Campbell there?
Yeah, he was there. He was running around trying to put out fires. I mean, the main event fell out. I think we talked about that on Twitter. With Kyra not making weight. I guess I talked to her for a little bit. She said that she called ahead of time before the weigh-ins, tried to get a catch weight fight. I think she said she was 3 pounds overweight, so that would put her at what 108, right?
108, sorry, 108.
Oh,
wait, was that
right.
as the atom weight, or was that was atom weight, right?
I think so. I don't remember, but she was anyway. She was 3 pounds overweight. Her opponent did not want to concede the 3 pounds. She didn't want to do the catch weight, so that's how the fight fell apart.
That's okay.
I guess to some people that matters, right?
3 pounds out. I'm not saying I'm at all a professional fighter, not at all. Okay, but I was just telling you guys before we started the show that there's no one in my weight division for this weekend's tournament in San Diego, so I just had to move up to super heavyweight. Okay, that's how you work this shit, chick. You want to fight, you gotta fucking fight. You know what I mean? Did she get like her show money? Not Kyra, but the other one.
I didn't see her there, so I didn't really have a chance to talk to her. What I do know is that I guess Kyra wants to really get that match forward. So I mean, I'm pretty sure they'll re-sign that fight and get it going. But
they should.
I mean, like you said, 3 pounds, it's not a big deal. I think I believe the other girl fight, I think her name was Alyssa something and something Rain. They also missed one of them also missed weight, and they also made that a catch weight. So I mean, Kyra was saying it's not a big deal to make a catch weight. 3 pounds.
It's really
then her opponent did go online and claim that she was 10 pounds over, blah blah blah. But
get the oh god, this is horseshit.
From the proverbial horse's mouth, she was 3 pounds overweight.
Look, and when she weighed in at 108, I remember that. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean,
maybe she was thinking she's gonna be 10 pounds over when they get in the cage, which is quite possible. But the other chick's gonna gain weight too. So well, whatever. Oh well, hey, glad you had a good time, man. It ended up being a pretty good show, even with when the main event dropped. The new one was actually pretty good. So,
what was it? Eric Perez or something like that.
Yeah, that was a good fight.
Yeah. Ghost Pepper,
right.
It's good.
That's my favorite nickname in all of MMA now. It's Ghost Pepper. Okay, that's just the shit. All right, let's go through Bellator real quick. Bellator 172 went down last Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. And actually, I mean, people ask me like, how was Bellator, and I go, it was a card, and mostly because Fedor Matt Mitrione dropped out. If you guys didn't hear, which I'm sure everyone did, Matt Mitrione had kidney stones and he couldn't fight. He tried to, couldn't pass it, and supposedly, Coker and the rest of them told him to just don't worry about it, go to the doctor and get taken care of. And then he passed it on the way home in like a Dallas airport. He passed the kidney stone. So it's like, dude, what the fuck, right? So anyway, Fedor, according to sources and all this shit, not sources, but people that have sources, quote unquote sources, fake news. But Chael Sonnen, I love using that now. Anytime someone says something stupid, I'm like, fake news, shut up, fake news. You know what I mean? All the Trumpisms. I can go wrong. They start talking, just interrupt them with wrong. I love that. And even though I don't mean it for shit, I don't really give a fuck. Anyway, supposedly Sonnen, Tito Ortiz, fucking like 3 or 4 other people, offered to step up to fight him, and Fedor said no. Supposedly, Fedor said no.
Eugene
would have fought him and gotten his ass whooped. All right, I know you love your boy, but dude, Fedor's big ass would have just been like, yeah, go ahead and pull guard on me, dude. These big ass fists are coming to your face.
Right? Who cares, right?
I would have fought him.
He was in the area.
Yeah, right.
He was rested and ready and in the area.
I would have fought. I would offer to fight Fedor if I was in there. Get that ass whooping from a legend for that money. I mean, I don't know how much money they made, but I'm assuming that was a decent payday for somebody. Whatever. Fedor wants to fight in like June or July, something like that. So I'm assuming they're gonna rebook that fight, hopefully, because I really did want to see that fight. I want to see what Matt Mitrione could do. He's taller, longer reach, all that shit, probably stronger. You know what I mean? And he's been way more active, relatively more active than Fedor. So I don't know. I had Mitrione win that fight. Honestly, and I'll tell you the complete truth. I didn't watch. Once I heard that fight was off, I didn't watch any of it. The entire card, missed it all. For this reason, you motherfuckers at Bellator, Put that stupid little stamp on the fucking screen that says live. Bellator live on Spike TV or Paramount TV, what the fuck you calling it now, right? It's not live. This event was in San Jose, California. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. We're all similar time zones. I'm Mountain Standard. I'm an hour ahead, okay? Like for Jesse right now, it's 6:44, right? For me, 7:44. It's whatever. For Dave, 7:44 too. Once the same time comes by, Dave goes ahead an hour, and then me and Jesse are in the same time zone or same time. So anyway, come the fuck on, fellas. Like, how is this shit live? It's in the West Coast. It's only live for the East Coast, and we gotta wait 4 hours to get that shit. Like, Andy would tell me to go fuck myself right now because he would get it 8 days later. But still, what the fuck? Okay, fix your shit, and I'll watch your product. Okay, I was literally, and I had a stream ready to go to watch Bellator. I had a stream. Okay, motherfuckers. And then the fight dropped out, and I said, "Fuck this shit. I'm gonna go do something else on my Saturday night." Fuck it. I did watch highlights and shit. The Czech Congo fight I heard was like good and bad. It was weird. That's what I heard. I heard Kocha got knocked out with a jab. Either one of you guys see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
And
how sad is that?
Actually,
I saw the low.
How sad is that guy?
I saw the low light. I saw the super low. I didn't even kind of highlight. It was a low light. This dude just comes in with a stiff jab, and Kocha does snake leg, boom, done. If there's ever been what?
Yeah,
Did you see how that happened?
$75K for that finish too.
Oh, hey, good for him.
But did you see?
Good for him.
Did you see that finish though? I mean, he needs to be done. I mean, he got cracked in the jaw with the jab.
Yeah.
And he right away grabs his eye. His eye that GSP totally screwed over and broke. So like, I mean, come on.
Wasn't it the opposite eye though? Wait, I don't think it was the eye that GSP busted though, right?
Was it? Because all I saw him do was he immediately grabbed his face, like his eye, and then he went down. And I was like, well, yeah, you probably shouldn't be fighting anymore, man. If you can't take a jab without like your face hurting, which is kind of what I'm thinking is probably going to end up happening with Rory after he got his nose all busted up. I mean, he's going to take one stiff jab and that nose is going to get rebroken, and yeah, we're going to have the same effect, right? Like,
I mean,
your face don't heal that good.
Also, a funny thing about his opponent, the Alonso guy, I'm doing my picks, researching the fight. I mean, I've always been sort of a Koscheck fan. I followed his career, but once Eugene S. Robinson actually was telling me about this Mauricio Alonso, who he's trained with, he's familiar with. Apparently, this guy has like that type of drill where he trains people where they just basically punch him in the face for 5 minutes straight. So
who does that?
Hearing that, the Mauricio Alonso guy.
Huh? Is that
some type of training that involved in that?
That's so retarded.
Is it hard punching? Is it hard punching or just like getting them used to? Is it just getting them used to the punches?
Yeah. I guess it's some type of training method that he incorporates. I guess he teaches, and then after hearing that, I was like, definitely Koscheck doesn't have a fucking chance. But I thought maybe he'd land a few shots. But like Jesse said, you can't take a jab. It wasn't even the eye. I don't think that GSP totally shattered up in Canada years ago. But Koscheck, like Andy would say, go away.
Dude, fucking, he didn't even attempt any takedowns at all. No takedown attempts. He basically just danced around a little bit and got cracked, and it was over. It was fucking weird.
Hey, would you cash the $75,000 check and get?
Please fucking believe I would. Hell yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I'm not hating on the fact that he got in there to get paid. Dude, fucking get your money, okay? Just don't try to sell me in the fact that it was gonna be a decent fight, because it wasn't.
Yeah, and then also like back to the Fedor thing, like we're starting off with Bellator here. I think, I guess the Mitrione rebooking would be cool. I'd like to see that fight. We all missed out on a hardcore, from a hardcore perspective. We all wanted to see it, but Mitrione said he plans to, he'll take on somebody else. But who the hell do you match him up with? And then who do you put Fedor up against? Because we definitely want to see Fedor in there. I mean, he's coming off a win streak. He's in Bellator. They happened to snatch him up before the UFC could. So, but I think this is it was supposed to be a turning point, I guess you could say, for Bellator, as them being like taking the next step. Where a lot of people, there's people writing articles about it leading up to the fight, and then this main event drops out, and it's a little bit of the opposite, where they did have one of their guys, Josh Thompson, take a bad loss up there too. So a couple things. Yeah. It didn't really work out in the best case scenario, but I think Bellator is definitely going to put together some better matches, and we're going to see MVP back in the mix soon. Rory's going to be taking on Paul Daly, so I'm excited to actually see what Bellator is going to do. Continuing, this card took a big hit with Fedor dropping off against Mitrione, though.
Yeah,
but think about it though. I mean, no, go ahead. Like, give me a good idea. But I'm saying, like, look at the next couple cards.
Yeah.
And honestly, the only card I'm kind of excited about, and because I have a weird obsession with somebody in the main event, is the Julia Budd
Of course
Marlies
you
Conan.
do. Of course you do.
And and after that,
good
what is
fight.
it like? It's kind of a dead zone. You got Rampage, King Mo 2 or 3 or whatever
I'll
that
watch
is.
that though.
I mean, does that really interest you a lot? I mean, you've got a Rampage that who knows if he's
Shit, I
motivated,
froze.
coming off of King Mo that got destroyed by a roided up what was his name, Crow Cop, right?
Crow Cop.
Yep.
Yeah.
All kinds of roids, Crow Cops. So I mean, and then after that, I think there's Pitbull against somebody for the 4th or 5th time, right? I think that's the next main event after that,
Chandler.
and then yeah, it's like, I mean,
Or no, well, actually, Chandler and Patricky will be the next fight, as Thompson, like I said, took the L. I mean, they probably want Josh to earn a win there and probably get behind him as a guy like coming back even at his age. So, well, I agree with Jesse though. The current, like the matchmaking coming up, we've seen them before. We've seen these fights. A lot of them are rematches, but like Jesse said, there's a few of them we'll pay attention to as hardcore fans and certain fighters that we follow. On that note, though, actually on the card, I don't know if you guys caught the fight in its entirety, but the Veda Ortega Brooke Mayo fight. Now that was a crazy fucking war. So Veda Ortega, as Eddie and I talked last week on our breakdown, she took a pretty shitty decision loss that I thought she won the fight against Anastasia Yankova. So, but this Brooke Mayo chick making her debut made it pretty interesting, and she ended up getting the Matt Mitrione eye treatment. I know you guys seen that. So,
honestly, I didn't see a single thing of Bellator. I saw the highlight of Josh Kasha getting himself knocked out, Josh Thompson getting knocked out, and then that's it. I didn't even see the Czech Congo. What else was on there? I didn't see any of the fights really. So,
yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I got to go back and watch that one then. Was it televised or not?
Yeah, it was on the undercard. It was
What, the Bellator fights?
Yeah, it was making. You can actually go to like the website. I think Bellator.com has a lot of the fights set up there, and for sure the Veda Ortega Brooke Mayo. Go back and check that out. It's worthy of a watch for sure. So,
for sure. Now here's the thing. And my shit keeps freezing up, so I got to check and make sure I'm not like it. I don't know if it's me or you guys. It's probably me then if both of you are freezing. But if it freezes again, I'm gonna pop up my phone. Okay. Anyway, with the okay, so with Bellator, it's weird. They have a weird product. They're trying so hard to do something with it, right? And they just seem to not be able to do it. I mean, this is gonna be their huge card. This is gonna be their coming out party, also the shit, and the main event's gone. And Fedor doesn't want to take any replacement. It's like, now what? What do we do now? You know what I mean? Meanwhile, UFC went down on Sunday, and I don't know about you guys, but I've never laughed harder at a post-fight interview than I did when the Black Beast said, "Was Ronda's fine ass at?" And I had to take a deuce, or I had to take a number 2. And it was just a fucking awesome post interview. So I mean, I know you guys watched that. So we'll start here with Dave. What do you think of the card as a whole, and Derek Lewis specifically?
The card as a whole, coming off of UFC 208 being shite, it delivered. Halifax was actually a great card. I enjoyed it from top to bottom. So my picks definitely reflected that, in which I was kind of pissed that I fucking picked Travis Brown, but I think Travis had his opportunities to win the fight. He did have Derek Lewis hurt early in the fight, but like he was saying, he had to just take a shit, and he had to hold his whatever. He didn't want to take a shit in front of a million people on TV or whatever he said post conference. But Derek Lewis, so definite contender right there. Was he ranked number 7 now, currently at heavyweight? So everybody's in a rush to try to match this guy up with Francis Ngannou, but we know he has like a foot injury now that's going to keep him out. So that pretty much opens up the door for Kane and Francis Ngannou to be booked very soon, in my opinion. But the card from top to bottom, like I said, great undercard. Faraz Zahabi's brother, Ayman Zahabi, had a pretty tough, gritty win. He's a great addition to the UFC in that division. Ronda Marcos, big upset. That was a pretty interesting fight with Carla Esparza. People forget that Carla Esparza was the first women's strawweight champion. So Marcos in Canada earning a big win up there. Who else? Johnny Hendricks, who fucking knew? Johnny Hendricks still has a dominant wrestling game. He made sure that, he did his thing up in Canada, earned a win. He was basically on his way to fucking Bellator in a loss here. But it was great to see top to bottom. It was a lot of different scenarios, different fighters, former champions, new rising stars. So really excited about coming off the UFC Halifax, and then next week it gets even more interesting with 209.
Yeah, we actually, you know what? I actually enjoy the Saturdays, like the weekends where there's no UFC. Like I can do some other shit with my time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of what it is. But Jesse, what did you think about the card?
Honestly, I gotta agree. Like,
oh,
can you not hear me? Oh,
good.
Dave, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I agree with Dave. I mean, there were some good fights. I think there was some home cooking a little bit there in some of those fights. What was it? The Randa Marcos fight. I really don't think she won that fight, even though I hate Cookie Monster with a passion. I couldn't see her losing that fight. I think she won that fight. It was a close fight. Both of them really not giving me a lot of motivation to kind of score it in either favor. But I mean, I just don't think that Randa Marcos did enough. She definitely looked a little bit more polished, but just not enough. I mean, you know, it's just they're almost like shadow of their former selves or the potential of what they had, possibly. But it was still a good scrap. What was it? The Alessandro Ricci and Paul Felder fight was really, really good, exciting fight. Kind of heartbroken for Ricci because I thought a good prospect there that just got kind of busted up a little bit. I mean, he showed how tough he was, but took a hard loss.
First time he's been finished too, Jesse. That's the first time he's gone out by finish, I believe.
Yeah, but I mean, these guys that are young prospects like that, you don't want to break them that fast, that that early. I mean, you kind of want to build them up a little bit better than that. But I mean, Paul Felder, I mean, finally showing a little bit more of his potential that we've seen. I mean, he's so inconsistent. I think I picked against him for that fight on our picks, just because he's so inconsistent. You just never know what kind of Paul Felder you're going to get in there. The other standout fight for me definitely was the Derek Lewis Brown fight. I think we've all been toting Derek Lewis's uprising in the heavyweight division right along with Ngannou. And I think people are starting to realize that, he's for real. He's a little bit fat. He sweats a lot, but he's entertaining, man. He comes to fight. He puts the fight on people. And I mean, just the way he brutally beat Travis Brown. I mean, it was just awesome. It was a great post-fight speech as well, saying, he likes to put his hands on women. So, he gave him that extra little punches at the end. And what is it? Yamasaki, right? It was Mario Yamasaki.
He thanked, I think in the interview, he thanked Yamasaki for those extra few shots in there. So that's pure Derek Lewis. So yeah, he's definitely, I agree with Jesse. It's him and Ngannou. I don't know if their paths cross real soon. But I mean, who do you guys,
I hope not.
If that fight takes place in like 2 months from now, I mean, who do you guys taking in that fight?
The Ngannou fight?
Say it did. We're just fantasy matchmaking. Ngannou Lewis is set up. Who you guys got in that one?
I like Ngannou. Ngannou seems like he would murder this cat. I like Derek Lewis a lot. Okay, like where's Ronda's fine ass at was the best fucking line since Nate Diaz said, "I'm not surprised, motherfuckers." Like that's seriously. Like no, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers. Number one, and then where's Ronda's fine ass at number two, easily.
Oh yeah. Well, leave it up to Derek Lewis to always deliver, not only in the fight, the great performance, finishing everybody, but we know post-fight and post-presser he's going to bring it too. So I think he had a little like toy belt. He's considering himself the interim champion, feeling like an interim champ. So props to Derek Lewis. He's doing big things. That foot injury will set him back, but that'll leave him time to come back fresh in and be taking on nothing but top 5 guys from here on out for sure.
Sorry, like I had to look it up. Because my memory is crappy. You would think I'm a fighter that's been hit a lot. That Gavin Tucker kid, that guy really surprised a lot of people. Sam Cecilia was talking a mad amount of, leading up to that fight. He was saying that he was gonna knock this dude out. He doesn't deserve to be here. I'm gonna put him to sleep in less than a round. Blah blah blah. And damn, did he put on a performance? I mean, who was the announcer? Was it the new guy? What was his name?
John Grisham.
Yeah, Grisham. We'll get to him in a second, but
God damn
Him and his what was it? Brian Stan was his second
Color.
in command, right?
He's a color, yeah.
Okay. So Brian Stan pointed out something that I agree with wholeheartedly. This is the type of kid that we're now going to see in the UFC.
Oh yeah.
We're going to see these type of guys, these Cody Garbarants, Tucker, all these guys, Derek Lewis, Ngannou, like this new level of athlete, kind of like I think what we all thought Travis Brown was. When Travis Brown first came into the UFC, I was really high on him because he moved so athletically. He kind of moved like Dominic Cruz, which, is funny because when you go back, he used to train with Dominic Cruz when he was fighting that style. Then he went to where he's at now and he fights like an idiot. I mean, he really does. I mean, he doesn't find the openings like he used to. He's not as athletic as he used to be, and he just doesn't have it anymore. But now you're seeing that new level of athlete, and I think we're looking at the future here. I think we're looking at a lot of future contenders here. And honestly, that Johnny Hendricks fight was so disappointing and depressing because Johnny Hendricks can now absorb a lot more punishment, but he still didn't show me that he's going to be a contender. He's going to be an athlete. He's going to be someone to reckon with. He still doesn't have his power back. I mean, Dan Henderson knocked him out. Neil Magny knocked out Hector Lombard. I mean, Neil Magny's not known as a power puncher, but he put it on him and knocked him out. Dan Henderson damn near killed him. Took his head off with those elbows and stuff. But I mean, Johnny Hendricks is just such a mystery to me at this point. Like, and a disappointing mystery at that. Like, he's lost his power. He's lost a lot of the stuff that made him an exciting guy to watch go up against GSP and, in a lot of people's opinion, beat him and get that title. But now he's just a guy that kind of relies on a couple skills, and then that's it. Like, it's just so disappointing to see. Plus Hector Lombard, another guy that is probably gonna suffer from the next round of cuts because he has not been performing up to what we all thought he was gonna be. I mean, remember when he was brought into the UFC, they were like, "Oh, Anderson Silva, look out! This is a guy that is gonna give you a run for your money," and he never achieved that. So I mean, I don't know about you, Dave, but there was a lot of disappointing people there that you kind of are like, man, these guys should be something better than what we're seeing right here.
Yeah, and in the case of Johnny Hendricks, I think if you guys heard his post-fight speech, I mean, that pretty much just should tell you all about Johnny Hendricks. I mean, you see the fight.
He's crazy.
Yeah, well, a little bit. I mean, the guy was actually calling out GSP. I think I don't know which reporter asked him. It had nothing to do with his reply, but basically he said that the fans would want to see him against Bisping, and that would be the more bigger fight than Bisping against George. I think he was referring to. So to tell you how crazy Johnny Hendricks is, I mean.
Maybe as far as weight goes,
yeah.
I'm not sure about actually a bigger fight. Here's the thing: you want me to fix the Johnny Hendricks issue because I can. Johnny Hendricks against Luke Rockhold next fight. Done.
Oh man.
Done.
Why are you trying to kill him?
I'm trying to kill him.
Jacare and Luke. I think that's the fight.
Okay, now we're trying to kill him. Jacare. Kill him. Luke Rockhold will just. Well, here's the thing about why Luke though, because Luke will go in there, piece him up a little bit, right, and get super confident and give him a chance to knock him out. Give him just a little bit of a chance. That Bisping actually was able to take a hold of and end that shit, but I don't think Johnny could. You know what I mean? But it'll be like that one insurance commercial where the guy with the fishing with the dollar on it, he goes, "Ooh, you almost got it." It'll be exactly just like that. It'd be perfect. I'm just saying. Go ahead, Dave.
I thought you said to fix Johnny Hendricks, just get rid of USADA, and then we'll probably see Johnny Hendricks knocking dudes off, heads off again.
Hey, USADA goes away. I promise you, Chuck Liddell comes back.
He might come back. I mean, what is he? Is he affiliated with the World Series of Fighting now, as far as like promoting or something like that, right? Or
he's affiliated with whoever's gonna give him a check.
Yeah. I think he's doing PR or some like appearances for them. But again, for World Series of Fighting to be paying these guys, I mean, I hope they're like right away cashing the check and just getting that money, just so those checks don't bounce. Because
I guarantee that's happening.
The day is coming. No. The day is coming that those checks are gonna bounce.
Well, here's the thing: they have a new owners or something, but like they bought it for like nothing, right?
What did I say last time? It was like a certain percentage for like $4 million or $20 million or something like that.
75%. I think it was 75.
Yeah. They paid a percentage, I think, and I think the total evaluation of their company, basically, they're saying is like about 25 million or something like that. It's stupid. It's stupid to be paying that much money for a company that is losing its stars. I mean, they lost what is it, 3 champions, right?
David Branch
Basically
is going to be doesn't he have a fight booked as well, right?
Yep, David Branch is gone. He's with the UFC. Marlon, he's also looking to jump into the UFC as well, right?
Yeah, and then you got the trend of UFC fighters on their way out. So it's just a continuous cycle where I guess Bellator should benefit from it. And if they keep to the model of their style of matchmaking, I mean, they are going to get, certain guys that are going to be headliners immediately. I mean, mainly all of them, pretty much.
I mean, Dave, do you think that a place like that would be a perfect place for someone like Gustafsson, Johnny Hendricks, like these guys that are on like bad losing streaks that, were like top guys? And not to disrespect Gustafsson, but I'm saying like, that don't have that UFC caliber win in them to become champion. Like, do you think that Bellator model would fit them even better? Because I mean, they go over there, they get not tomato cans, but pretty close to tomato cans to kind of build themselves up and become big stars over there in Bellator. I mean, look at Phil Davis; he's a champion over there. Look at Rory McDonald; he's going to headline a London card. That's probably going to be big for them. I mean, Matt Mitrione was about to get a fight with the greatest heavyweight of all time. I mean, these guys are building themselves up and then kind of cashing in at the end here.
Yeah, no, I think the opportunities are going to be there. You mentioned, like you said, Rory, the London. Yeah, they're built. Bellator is not fucking around. They're trying to build these cards up. This Fedor Mitrione dropping out kind of stung a bit because, like I mentioned earlier, people were talking a lot about it, a lot of buzz. People were definitely going to tune in on a Saturday night as the UFC followed up the following night. So it would have been a great weekend of MMA to kind of gauge. I mean, MMA fans are Bellator fans are basically hardcore fans. So when anybody does make that trip to the UFC, whether it's a former champion, an older star in the later stages of his career, we just want to see great fights. Like Fred Kirby was here. We want to have some fun. And at the same time, they're going to be paid well. Drug testing is a little bit different. The rehydrating and stuff like that, because there has been a lot of issues in the UFC with as far as weight cutting. So Bellator seems to not really be an issue, and Scott Coker definitely takes care of his guys. So
I'll tell you what, I don't want to see. I don't mind seeing good fights or anything, but as long as we get Rockhold versus Hendricks, I'm okay with it.
And it's going to be weird
to kill him, I swear.
I mean, yeah, 185. As he was fighting that fight, I was kind of thinking of that, like how would he look against these bigger 185ers, like a big Rockhold, or yeah, pretty much. Well, it would be a similar fight each time out for Hendricks. Like Jesse said, his power is long gone, and he's still got the dominant wrestling. I mean, he pretty much manhandled Hector Lombard in those grappling exchanges and getting to the ground or getting back up to his feet, which Hendricks does. And Jesse said it earlier, the last time he fought GSP, he kind of does have a case that, yeah, let me fight him again, because he beat the shit out of George and he lost that fight. So
yeah, I mean, it is what it is. What?
No, I'm just saying, don't you think most of the fights that Johnny Hendricks would engage in at 185 would probably look like the Wonder Boy fight, where they just kind of piece him apart at range and probably put him away pretty quickly?
Well, for sure, but I mean, his wrestling would help equate. But you're right. Like, I don't like Johnny Hendricks at 185, but I definitely don't like him at 170. Okay,
but
like imagine him against Weidman. Imagine that.
Oh my god!
Oh, please make that fight, UFC. Make that fight. If you look, I will. Look, I know I always shit on the circus fights. I'm 1,000% behind Hendricks against Rockhold, against Weidman, fuck it, against Jacare.
Yeah.
You know what? Fuck it. Let him go up to 205 against Gustafsson. Against if you go to a heavyweight, someone bringing Stephen Struve. I would love to laugh at that. It'd be hilarious, right? Point is this: Johnny Hendricks fucked up. All right, he's fucked up repeatedly with his weight cut, and it's banished him to 185. And now for some reason, because he beat Lombard, all of a sudden he's a 185er. He's not stupid. He knows damn well that they got some 6'4", 6'5" guys or 6'3" guys, whatever the fuck, at 185, and he's what, 5'9", something like that. So, he knows he's in a shitty spot. Regardless, I just wish he would make 170. I really do.
Do you think it all depends on his next opponent, like whoever he kind of handpicks next? is gonna kind of dictate what his career is gonna end up being. Because I mean, if he really thinks that he has a shot at 185, I think he should just jump into the deep water and just say screw it, you know, Weidman,
Balls out.
you know, any of the top guys, and just test yourself. I mean, look at whatchamacallit, your doppelganger, Kelvin.
Calvin Gastelum.
I mean, none of us are talking about Kelvin the same way that we talk about Johnny Hendricks, right? And they're both kind of built the same way. They're both stocky wrestlers, tough, but none of us are saying, oh, you know, Kelvin doesn't have a chance at 185. I think most of us agree that he has a better shot at, you know, doing what he likes to do against most of the top guys. I think most of us are in agreement, and I think the only problems he'd probably end up having is probably against, like, you know, someone like as powerful as Yoel Romero, or even like Jacare. You know, those two guys that, like I said before, I think those two guys are probably going to trade the belt back and forth, maybe in a trilogy, before we finally get settled on an actual, you know, title holder for a while. But I think everybody else, I think Kelvin gives a big headache to, and maybe wins some of those fights.
I'll tell you what. After Kelvin knocks out Vitor Belfort, make Vitor versus Hendricks. Or
no. Keep in mind though, keep in mind, Calvin did beat the brakes off of Hendricks. So, and then I was gonna say the fight that they could make. I mean, they might as well do it. I mean, we're naming pretty much the top guys at 185. Where Johnny could he's gonna accept any fight at 185 at this point. But give him David Branch. Fuck it. I say that's a great fight right there.
You know what? I might side with Hendricks on that one. I've never been impressed with David Branch, not even a little bit, not even a tiny.
Like, maybe
it'd be tremendous shine. I mean,
we're talking about 2-division champion in World Series of Fighting. Fuckface, settle.
Yeah, that's why that'll be it wouldn't be a loss to hurt David Branch if it's his first fight and he loses to a former champion. But I think that's ideally the way where the fight would work out for both guys. If Hendricks landed some shine on him.
It'll be bad.
It'll
be bad if he loses to an overweight, crazy welterweight.
No, I do like that for the reason that, I mean, it kind of gauges both of them. It gauges where Johnny Hendricks is at, if he's going to be just like, you know, a top like 35, you know, 185er, or if he's going to be like some kind of like gatekeeper, you know, because if he can't beat David Branch coming into the UFC, you know, or maybe off his first fight in the UFC, Johnny Hendricks has no place in the UFC at that point. You know, I still don't think he has a place in the UFC anyway. I think neither does Hector Lombard at this point. With USADA always, like, you know, testing them, I think the UFC is not the place for those guys. Vitor, Lombard, you know, Hendricks, you know, some of those weird people that have kind of lost their punching power, their skills out of nowhere, right?
Get out. If I'm Johnny Hendricks, I stop cutting weight completely and just fight at 205. For real though, think about it. Like,
his power won't come back, and I think at 205.
No. You're thinking way too logical. Get out of that shit, okay? Put him on an FS1 card, okay? Johnny Hendricks against Oben St. Preux, all right? And watch the ratings explode, Bellator style, okay? Fucking FS1 will save their fucking their asses just with that one fight. If I'm Johnny Hendricks, I accept the fact that I'm crazy. I buy into that shit, and I go, I want to fight a heavyweight. Bring it, motherfuckers. Who wants some? I literally do that with a straight.
What is he, Brandon Vera?
Who gives a fuck, right? Like, straight up, though.
Shit.
No, think about it. That's what I would do. If I'm his place, people think I'm crazy. People think I can't make weight, okay? I own it, but in a serious tone, I try my best not to laugh. In a serious fucking, as serious as you can be, like, I want to fight at 205. I'll fight anybody. Bring on Johnny Bones. I don't give a fuck. And
you know how that would sound,
the ratings explode. It doesn't matter.
He would be like, oh shucks, you know, I think I'm just gonna have to go to 205 and stuff, and
let's get him
like, shut up.
A speech coach, okay?
Yeah, and it was almost as if you go back and listen to that post presser, everything that he says is everything a fighter should be doing in preparations for, like, to be a champion, to be the top notch fighter in the UFC. And it's basically the win, sort of like he just remembered like all the things he used to do right. He's like, oh, I'm gonna get a nutritionist, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And he was just so happy. I mean, it's cool to see Johnny Hendricks, you know, excited about, you know, doing his thing in 185. But we're matching him up with some of these killers, and just the fact that, or the shit that he was saying post fight, I mean, the dude's pretty crazy, and you might as well go up to 205, like Eddie said, challenge there. Fuck it.
All right. Here, I got it.
Challenge Kane in Denver or Mexico City. I guarantee he has a shot.
I got it. No. See, this is what we do. We make a trade, okay? Since we're playing this as an organization,
okay.
The UFC makes a trade with Rizin to get some Asian, superstar from over there to come over here. We send Johnny Hendricks over there, let him roid up and fight Vanderlei Silva.
Oh shit. No, even
Kill
better.
It.
Let him roid up, fight Gabby Garcia. He'd need that shit. Seriously, when are they gonna give her a real fight? Is there no females at her size at least?
I know, right? Hopefully
don't
soon.
You remember what we talked about?
What, the
145 plus on that rankings. 145 plus, because they have to accumulate all the chicks plus 145, and there's only like 12 or 16 or something.
They not only should they line her up with one fight, they should line her up for 2 in one night just in case.
That would work. Johnny and who else would you get?
The grandma
Johnny
rematch.
Twice. Fucking Johnny twice.
You didn't fight the original grandma though, right?
Oh, in fact, let her fight Johnny 3 times. Best out of 3 wins. All right,
okay, so one jiu-jitsu match, one wrestling match, and one MMA match. Bam.
Ooh, that would be a good one. So jiu-jitsu first, and then wrestling, and then fucking a fight.
MMA, yeah.
I'm okay with that. You probably go, yeah, right. Fucking foot stomps, head stomps and shit, and body shots, whatever. Or what do they call it? Soccer kicks. Can
you imagine that the visual of Johnny Hendricks on the ground and Gabby Garcia like soccer kicking?
That'd be the shit. I'd be so happy. Anyway, all right, let's move on to the next thing. The GSP sweepstakes. UFC won, but now who we put him up against? People talking Bisping, people talking Nick Diaz. The noise coming out of GSP's camp, Conor McGregor. I would be okay with that if I wanted to see GSP butt fuck Conor to a win. I don't. Look. People can bitch out all they want to. A lot of big GSP fans are like, I can't believe you say that shit. Look, dude, watch his last 3-4 fights. He looked like he lost. His face, it looked like he lost. Meanwhile, most of the highlights or the highlights of the fight were him on humping someone on the ground. That's all it was. For real. For real.
Come on. Okay. I'm gonna defend GSP a little bit. I don't want to see that fight. I don't want to see him and Conor. I agree with you. That's a terrible fight. But I mean, have we seen anybody be able to effectively use wrestling to that point where they dominate somebody, even though they know that they're gonna get taken down? They still cannot stop it. They can't get back up. They just get beat up on the ground, and they cannot stop that attack. No, that's a thing of beauty. It may be boring to a lot of people. I agree with you guys, but it's a thing of beauty when somebody is able to dominate somebody in that fashion, where they just, what's going to happen. He's going to set you up, and then he's going to take you down, and then everybody still stands there and goes, "Okay, here it comes." Oh, and they're down. It's like if you can't stop it, then you can't knock it. It's kind of like the Ben Askren thing.
Yeah,
he beats everybody with wrestling.
Yeah, and we didn't see it many times. Like in GSP's career, maybe a round or so. I think in the later stages of his fight against Nick Diaz, Nick started to stop the takedowns in like round 4 and 5. I think up against Johnny Hendricks, obviously he had a sick performance, and that was a performance of his life when he fought George that night. And I'm in sort of an agreement that he did win the fight, you know what I'm saying? So it was shoddy judging, where that's been a fucking trend big time lately. Not only judges, referees have been shit lately too. So, but back to like the 185 division for GSP. I mean, if he does venture in to try to fight Bisping, we all know it's a money grab. I think Bisping said that he just wants $1 million payday. He's never had that. He feels that he's owed that. And now that he's the champ, he's got, all the balls in his court. So as for big money fights, we know the Conor ticket is what everybody wants. And in next week, we'll know, what the hell's going on with Cal Kukui and Khabib Nurmagomedov, which is a fucking killer ass fight going down. And
you mean once Khabib wins that title?
You mean Ferguson takes him out in the 3rd round? No, I think we're gonna probably see GSP Oh man, there. I mean, Nick has been thrown out there. Bisbee. I just think that there's something brewing up where they have like the International Fight Week probably planned, and I think George probably gets in there, and they maybe stack it up with the Dillashaw and Cody Garbrandt, and then George against somebody. I'm thinking around June, July.
There you go. All right, moving on to the next thing here because
wait. So who are you assuming he's gonna get?
Nick Diaz.
Because I have an assumption who he's gonna get, but
he gonna get Nick Diaz. We're gonna get that rematch.
Yeah, I think they'll give him Nick. That'd be cool. And if it's not for the title, if they do a fucking title shot Bisbee, we know that's gonna happen in Vegas. They'll do it in Vegas for sure. That's the way they'll do it. I think there's a late card in August or something that's in next time they're in California. I don't think they're going to push it that far out, but I don't know. I just don't want to have the Yoel Romero Bisbee fight fall out. I think all the timing, everything's there for that fight to happen, except for like the money factor. So
Bisping is trying very, very hard to fight GSP. Okay. So it's going to be very difficult for that shit to actually work, for us to actually get Romero. I don't think it happens. I think Bisping's going to find a way to not fight Romero or something. I don't know what he's going to do, but
I think the key lies in who GSP wants to fight and who becomes the bigger money fight. And I think if they present the person that I think he should probably fight, I think that'll be the bigger money fight.
Derek Lewis.
No, Anderson Silva.
Ah, god damn it! No, it's too late for that fight. I mean, I agree with you. You know what? Now that I think about it, that's one of the likely routes, right?
What was it? Was it you?
Competitive?
Was it you or Dave that was saying that? Put it on International Fight Week, stack it up, and think about that. And then you have the biggest fight ever at the top: GSP Silva. I mean that's literally
I like that.
They literally might just start printing money, just start printing the money, and then maybe if they even want, put Connor on there
as a ref.
There you go. As a ref.
Are we
special guest referee?
Are we WWE now? Is that what we're doing? Because that's what's going to happen. If you make GSP Anderson Silva now, it won't be as bad as like Hoist Gracie against
Ken Shamrock.
Shit. But
yeah, you know what?
It'll be in that route. Okay.
Maybe
it's sort of like
what was it? Tito and
what's up, Jesse? No, it's kind of like the Mayweather Pacquiao MMA version of it, sort of.
Yeah.
You got older Anderson, GSP, gone for a little bit, hiatus, never been beat for the title, so it doesn't have to be a 5-rounder, doesn't have to be for the gold, and should just be a 3-rounder, and they could even throw 2 title fights on there as well, and have that as the main. Like he said, that's WWE matchmaking, but it makes fucking sense in what the UFC's doing.
How about this then? The UFC is obsessed with giving everybody titles, right? I mean, Derek Lewis brought his own title after he won, but I mean, might as well just make like a GOAT championship, right? Greatest of all time. Whoever wins that fight, bam, you got yourself a nice little belt. Get the hell out.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, an interim champ will be crowned in 11 days, 10 days, right?
I mean, I guess
that should be a good fight.
I guess I don't know.
I mean, from what I heard, I think Eddie wants to put up his beard because he thinks Khabib's gonna wreck shop.
On who? Yeah. On who? Time out on who? Time out on who?
What? What do you mean?
What are you gonna do?
Khabib is fighting Ferguson, right?
He's probably gonna beat him, but I don't know.
Oh, you're not gonna put your beard up?
Okay. No, dude. I see. Here's the thing. I don't make bets I'm not sure of. Okay.
Well, Eddie's competing this weekend, and then you're fighting down in Brazil, right? You got Vitor the week after.
That's right. I gotta fly out.
That's true.
I gotta fly out.
So he's busy.
I gotta shave all this off. This is actually not real. This is like glued on. It's like Velcro underneath. I just and I'm off, and all of a sudden I'm on my grade to fight Vitor. Fuck that guy.
You're pretty good, man. You were back at home and at Combates last week, so
that's quick, crazy, man. It's quick. I got them tricks. Anyway, all right, move on to the next thing here. And we're actually running out of time, so let's just hit a couple more things. Let's talk Cyborg. Cyborg is the whole thing's getting crazy. Now, someone explain to me why this is a thing, because it's weirding me out. All I see on Twitter is her freaking out, doing the whole Trump fake news bullshit, talking about how editors need to hold their writers accountable for their opinions. Does that make any sense? An opinion is an opinion, right? I get it. If you're writing something and you take and you get facts wrong or whatever, that's one thing. If you're writing an opinion piece, that's an opinion. You can't get fucking mad about. I mean, you can get mad about it, but you can't be like, oh, you need to watch your writers because they're writing stuff that's not favorable towards me. Like, shut the fuck out. On the other hand, this whole thing where they're going after Cyborg and not USADA like they should, that's tripping me out too, right? Everyone's writing about Cyborg and disclose this, Cyborg and do that. I'm like, okay, what the fuck is USADA's fault in this whole thing? They're at fault too. You know what I mean? They're definitely at fault too. I would say they're almost at more fault than Cyborg is. What do you guys think? We start with Jesse here.
I think that's why we're seeing them grant her that TUE. But I mean, I've always had the opinion that what she popped for and what we knew that came out immediately because her boyfriend / social media manager, that moron, went out and told everybody exactly what she popped for.
That's
okay.
True.
So for them to say that media shouldn't jump to conclusions, blah, blah, blah. If you don't come and tell your whole story, but you only give us half the information, we have to assume what the other half is without you telling us because you don't want to talk to anybody. So that's your fault. We've talked about this before, especially Dave, when we talked about the John Jones thing. If you're, crying about something, but you're not being, forthcoming with all the information, it gets kind of hard for us to side with you and take your side, even though we might take your side. With her, I mean, she had a medical condition. She got prescribed. She conveniently forgot to mention that on her paperwork. And USADA said, "Oops, we screwed up, and here you go. Here's your 2 UE, no suspension. Go get that title that you're supposed to have right now." So I mean, I think everybody's reacting to her just blowing out of proportion what happened. If you don't give us the information, we dig as much as we can with nobody saying anything to us. We're just gonna say what we know. And if you look at most of those pieces, they were pretty fair to both sides of the story of what she was saying and what everybody else was saying. So, you just can't get mad about that. If you don't come out and be forthtelling with all the information, it's your own fault.
Yeah.
All right. Dave, would you give your take on that?
Yeah, I read into it. I mean, I first was reading about as noted by what's his name, Combat Sports Law, Eric McGracken. I mean, basically, USADA was, they could have punished her for this. You know what I mean? For and electing not to let them know about the the exemption or letting them know beforehand. You know what I'm saying? So it's basically like people are getting real pissy about the whole situation where it involves Cyborg, and we want to see her back in there. We don't want this to be a real big setback for her career. It'll really kill her legacy that she has currently in the career. So I think if it was a lesser known fighter, that wouldn't be the case here. I think we talked about it once before on the show where, like Jesse said, the John Jones situation, they somehow cleared that up. All this arbitration hearing, which John was the first guy to go to arbitration, and USADA is just dirty at this point. We know we can't trust these guys. I mean, left and right, there's something coming up with different types of fighters on different, whatever, if they're household names to, guys trying to make it in the UFC. So, but those primary considerations when reviewing any TUE application, I mean, they're definitely going to, take action against the fighter if they're not honest about everything and they're well within that right. So they chose to not do so here. And yeah, it's all on Cyborg at this point, where we know Dana White offered her the division, the title, opened up a division for her. So a lot of money at stake here. So they definitely want her Cyborg back in the mix, obviously, because we now know she will eventually face Jermaine at some point. And I don't know if that fight actually gets booked as soon as we think it is, but as far as it looks now with Cyborg, her future ahead, she's going to fight again in the UFC, in which at maybe a month ago, less than that, 2-3 weeks ago, we thought the complete opposite. So interesting time, but USADA is not to be trusted at all, especially after this one.
But let me ask you guys this though: do you think that we're judging it too harshly, USADA? Because I mean, we know that baseball and other sports have their own testing, and I mean, we don't call it into question, right? Too much, because it's we kind of know, you're doing your own testing, so it's kind of you're just kind of. You might pop 1 or 2 people every once in a while just to kind of say, yeah, see, we're doing our due diligence, but you don't really try to catch people. You don't hear about a lot of other people in a lot of sports popping for things. And I think I think the Fertittas, when they owned the UFC, I think they went too far in trying to clean up the sport which I don't think needed too much cleaning. I mean, we're not getting that much exciting fights anymore. We're actually getting a regression of fights. A lot of fighters that were exciting are now, for shells of themselves. And I think it has to do a lot with how USADA came in and started really trying to crack down on these people.
Yeah, and they on the topic of, like, we're talking now about USADA, how they test. I mean, I listened to an interview about Johnny Hendricks leading into this UFC Halifax event. Apparently, he was tested like 3 or 4 times the week of the fight. So if that doesn't, like, not a clear sign where they're targeting people, which we've seen Holly Holm tested 25 times, you know what I mean, before fights. So it's really fucking wild. But then again, it's always the big names, you know what I mean, that draws all the interest in that. So that's why we're talking about this when it involves Cyborg. So when it's like I said, a lower tier fighter or so, 2 years, 1 year, whatever, the fighter will be punished, you know what I mean? So, but Cyborg has been vocal about her losing sponsors, take Joe Rogan being real vocal about it, talking about it. But a lot of people are interested in this, and then it's USADA, though. Like Jesse said, a great point. We're seeing a regression in exciting fights, and there's a lot of fighters that we can make a list where obvious performances have changed, each and every fight. I mean, depending on how long their UFC tenure has been, obviously.
I mean, of course, that depends whether or not it's because USADA busted you for doing shit or USADA fucked your shit up. It's one or the other. All right, just a couple more things here, and then we really have to go. We're getting late. Oh shit, I lost my list here, motherfucker. Oh, there it is. All right, so let's talk Ian McCall, and then we'll get to fight bookers. How does that sound?
Okay.
Ian McCall was at UFC 208 or before it. Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, like we're on the topic of weight cutting, USADA. Apparently, Ian McCall had a pretty serious situation where, the IVs are banned upon rehydration when you're, cutting weight down for performance. And Ian McCall was instructed that, you gotta take your ass to the hospital. There may be some type of emergency surgery. I think it was like a gallbladder surgery that they were planning on possibly attempting. It didn't happen. But it's just along the lines of Ian McCall, just tons of bad luck when it comes to him making it to a fight, where Jesse was talking about just the regression of fighters, them cleaning up the sport, where Ian McCall, when has this ever happened before in his career? Never. And now we have this issue where fighters are almost dying, and, just to killing themselves just to make it to the fight. And in the case of Ian McCall, I mean, serious situation. I mean, it could have been, Ian wanted to fight no matter what. He tried to get it going. I believe USADA went to his hotel room with IV bag, instructed him, to take one, gave him basically a TUE just right then and there in his hotel room, which is not really the official policy, but it's what they tried to do. They tried to actually get him in the fight. And I guess he's doing well now, but he was really fucking ill, and they just had to pull him from the bout. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I think he did all he could to get in there. It's just the USADA thing with fighters like I forgot who it was. I listened to an interview where it's a whole different deal now. You have to cut weight, be there in the morning, basically be throughout the night. It's a whole different experience now. So that's why some fighters, they have it down. They have their weight cuts down to a science, and it works out for them. But we've seen this as a pretty continuing trend, honestly, since I don't know, maybe first, like last year around this time is when it actually first started, I'm thinking. So, but Ian McCall, nearly had to go into emergency surgery, and the doctor said, well, you could have died, and kind of scared the shit out of the guy. So I think anybody would, especially if you're just trying to cut weight, make it to a fight, make money, then to pay your bills and put on a show.
But am I correct that they still haven't figured out what's wrong with him? Because he said, if I remember correctly, on the fight companion, that he still wasn't able to hold down food pretty well for like the next pretty much the rest of the week, and that he was barely getting. I think he had said he barely gained like 5 pounds or 10 pounds or something of weight back. So like he was still like something's obviously wrong with Ian. Like seriously, like maybe too much weight cutting in his entire life or something. But you know what? I think, again, we're jumping on the USADA thing. I think easily solved this problem of these fighters, feeling this way and being this way is the USADA itself. If they're able to give somebody like Ian McCall, a couple IV bags, why not just do that for all the rest of the fighters? I mean, they have a what is it, a chain of of command where, you know, they know exactly where the bags are coming from, what's in the bags. They give it to the fighter. They're there, you know, they get a couple people to, you know, sit in with the fighter, make sure nothing else gets put in. And then bam, you solve the. I mean, I think there's so many problems with what's going on, and I think Uncle Creepy kind of pointed to something that's, you know, very, very wrong with the system, where someone has to be in the hospital, or, you know, Nowitzki himself has to come in and, you know, basically play doctor and be like, oh wow, you're about to die, let's give you some fluids. You know, I mean, it's like, I think all this stuff could be solved so easily with a little bit more, you know, thought and, you know, a little better implementation. Because we got to remember, they basically took what they do with the Olympics and just kind of like put it into the UFC. And it's like, these fighters, none of the people at the Olympics cut weight like these fighters do. You know, none of them, you know, wreck their body to the point that these fighters do. And I think that requires a lot more leniency than, you know, an Olympic athlete, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then see also on that topic though, before I let you go, Eddie, it's really worth mentioning that Nowitzki nor the UFC doctor, they wouldn't have been in a position to give him a TUE in advance where they were willing to do that. So that's why, like Jesse said, it's really opened some eyes to where USADA, they're just going to pull this on a case-by-case thing, you know what I mean? So they're like, oh, fuck it, let's get Ian McCall in there. And we don't know if it's a problem with Ian McCall, but we know this has been a problem with fighters' rehydration and them, you know, killing themselves to get to a fight. So kind of strange that was the way McCall explained it. And I think he said that he'll probably get yelled at, and he already knows the overlords of UFC will probably come down on him for actually being just honest about the whole situation, where he could have got fucked in the whole thing with USADA either way and suffered some type of suspension and health problems on top of that. So even more confusion from there.
God, imagine that. Like, then they test them afterwards and they're like, well, you took some sort of IB bag and now you're suspended. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. There goes that. All right. All right. The good fight bookings there, Dave. The good ones.
All right. Well, we could start with the rumored bout that I don't know if you guys think it's going to happen or not. Eddie Alvarez, Michael Chiesa.
Who cares?
That's a terrible fight. That's a terrible fight.
Like I said, who cares? You know, they offered it to Nate Diaz, and Nate Diaz replied, "LOL at your fight."
But we do. You got to agree. We do need to see Michael Chiesa back in there, because he was actually, you know, he's in line for some big fights. He's got to string together a couple more wins. He's right near the top there. So,
but does that make sense to give Eddie Alvarez that type of fight? I mean, jeez.
Well, Connor said he was going to retire him and put him in a place, and he's put Eddie Alvarez in fucking deep space, honestly, because nobody's whispered anything about Eddie Alvarez since UFC New York. So kind of fucking weird.
Hasn't he kind of retired almost all of the people he's fought? Like, except for
very close.
Except for what's his face, right? The interim champ.
Aldo?
Yeah.
No, the other guy. Max Holloway.
Well, yeah. Well, Chad Mendez retired himself temporarily, so I think he'll probably be back at some point.
Yeah, so. He had a knee on his ass, motherfucker.
The steroid cream.
And then I think you guys heard the announcement that UFC has signed Cindy Dandois, and she'll be taking on Alexis Davis as well. So she's a new signing addition to the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the rumored bout that we also hope that we don't see it, but it's really, both fighters are kind of calling for it. They've been picking at each other. Jorge Masvidal and Neil Magny.
No. No, I want to see Masvidal in there only with guys that are going to throw with him. Magny's going to try and wrestle him.
Yeah, we got a lot of weird fights where I think all of us on this show will have varied opinions on whether or not we even give a shit or do we even want to see them. So your thoughts, Jesse?
Mick Maynard needs to get his crap together, man. These fight bookings are just horrendous.
I thought you said Gray Maynard. I'm like, leave that guy alone. What the fuck?
Yeah. Don't give him a fight either.
Yeah, exactly. He's probably on the next list of cuts. I mean, no knock to Maynard. I think he was a veteran of the UFC for many years. In this era of the UFC, I'm surprised that he's still there, because I think he suffered a loss in his last fight too. I think it's like 4 in a row or 3 in a row for him. So you know where you end up with 3 in a row in the UFC now. So
even 1 in a row or none.
Oh, well, yeah, that'll happen too, for sure. And I think a recent announcement too earlier today is, I think, or it was yesterday, I think the Gregor Gillespie and Andrew Holbrook fight. because Andrew Holbrook's coming off a nice win over Jake Matthews. I think Matthews is out for an injury, or he's injured out right now, planning a comeback over the summer. But Andrew Holbrook, though, he's actually I think he's undefeated currently right now too at the 55. So, and then also on to some Bellator matchmaking. How about that? Michael Venom Page, Derek Anderson. That fight is official.
All right.
And we also have Des Green. Oh, UFC, back to UFC. Des Green taking on Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett's a beast. I think that's a fucking hella interesting fight.
You know the fucked up part? What do you think? You know the fucked up part about that is that if you take most UFC fans and you tell them, you say the names of the fighters, they go, who? It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks, but it's the truth.
Well, with Josh Emmett, at least he could go, hey, that guy that broke his thumb in the middle of the fight, and then showed it to the camera.
Yeah, right.
Like, oh, yeah.
No, then they go, Trevor's Brown? Go ahead.
And I think we have Liam McGeary fighting here soon, or it's booked too. I think he's taking on Vladimir Filipovich, right? That fight was just announced yesterday, I believe.
Yeah, for McGeary. McGeary, that guy is his third replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
terrible luck.
Yeah, see, so that's hopefully, well, the Bellator's had bad luck on their side as far as their big cards that they put together. So we'll see what happens with as far as like the Rampage card. And then at some point, we all know what's going to happen. We're going to see Chael Sonnen actually fight again in Bellator. I hate to you know what I mean, to let everybody knows that that's going to happen sometime over the summer probably. But yeah, Bellator, we know that Mitrione booking sort of killed them. So I think if they rebook it, that ideally would be cool. They maybe got to stack the card a bit, but I think that that's a matchup that everybody wants to see. And Mitrione said he's okay with not fighting Fedor, but I indeed think they do need to rebook that one for sure, in my opinion.
There you go. All right. What's gonna do it for us, right? Is that what we got?
Yeah, just the MMA cunt of the week.
Yeah.
Can't remember the guy's name, the fighter name.
Oh.
Well, he's 1A. 1B would be the fighter who did the Cody Garbrandt impersonation and got fucking.
Oh, I got knocked the fuck out. That was the shit.
Yeah, he's cunt of the week for sure. Because how do you even do something like that? I mean, that's where we're at.
Yeah, I guess kept trying to dance and shit, and then got knocked the fuck out like a bitch. Awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome for sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
And we'll preview a little bit of UFC 209, I guess, on next week's show, and then we'll have a nice breakdown of 209 as big time title fights going down next Saturday. Eddie's got some competition happening this weekend, so no fights this weekend as far as UFC, Bellator, World Series of Fighting, Combates, but our man Eddie Law taking a trip out to San Diego. Let the listeners know what's going down this weekend, Eddie.
Gonna be a lot of ass whoopings getting handed out on the mats, motherfuckers. No, just going to San Diego, competing at the NABJJF. What do they call it? Not the internet. It might be the International Open. I don't know what they're calling it, but it's at San Diego High School on this Sunday, and I think it costs like, I want to say $10 to get in. So hopefully it's worth it for you guys. But if you want to go for it. Come say hi to me. I'll be there early. Heavyweight division. Apparently they didn't have enough people, so I had to move up to super heavyweight. In fact, me and one of my teammates, we had to both move up to super heavyweight. So now we get to fight for gold and try and go and get in the open and try to get that gold too. So see what happens. Hopefully, if I'm lucky, I'll come back with some hardware at least. But yeah, it's this Sunday in San Diego.
Nice. So Eddie will be pulling some gold this weekend, and next weekend, Tony Ferguson becomes a champ.
Latino's coming for your shit. Okay.
Yeah. But final thoughts also too. Dan Hardy cleared the fight. Let's get Dan Hardy back in there. I don't know if it's 155.
Do it.
If he competes at 55 next week, my homie Lando's fighting 209. He's gonna flatline David Tarmour.
Oh yeah.
Dan Hardy, Lando Venata. Why not? Fuck it.
I'll tell you what. Dan Hardy, title shot. For real.
Well.
Oh, there it is. That's what the fight is. GSP versus Dan Hardy 2.
Fuck yes! I will slap
at 155. GSP first time at 155.
GSP's gonna look like a dead man at Wayne's. Okay.
Yeah.
He's a muscly boy. He's ripped to shit. So, all right, everybody. Yep. That's gonna do it for us. Appreciate everyone tuning in. What the hell is that? Oh shit! Uncle Creepy on the Fight Companion had Eddie Bravo advising him to retire. Damn.
Ah,
Well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, actually gets in there one more time because it's been like 5 years or some shit. All right. Again, thanks for watching. Thanks for everyone for watching. Fucking, I'm so out of it right now. You can follow Jesse at Spawat1983. You can follow Dave at Dave's MMA Brief. I'm at Elaw31. The page at Crossbones MMA, and the show is at the MMA Advocates. Again, for myself, Dave and Jesse, you guys have a good night. Thanks for watching, and good night, Wilshire.
peace.